Here we go, y'all. No editing. Tragicamerica. I believe it's season 5, but we're going to call this season 1. We're starting over. Tragicamerica podcast, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for sticking around. I know I've been absent for a while. Had some family stuff going on. It has been a crazy year. All around the board. It's been a crazy year. Um, in my case, my mom had hip surgery done, and it got infected. She had to have it done again, and she needed 24-hour care for a very long time. And I was there taking care of her. So it put my life on a hold for a while, but hell, I'll always be there for my mom, no matter what. Now things are working out. Thankfully, I got a good job. I am back here recording, doing content again, and I am so happy to be able to be here with you. Now, let's get back into this crazy year and just go over some highlights, okay? So, this election it felt like it was 5 years, basically. It's finally over with. Or, it's not over until January, until like the inauguration. Then I'll say it's over with. Right now, there's still some shady shit going on. So, let's just keep our fingers crossed. Today was a very, very freaky day. Um, because President Biden signed an order. Well, I'm not going to even say President Biden, whoever is controlling President Biden, signed an order that Ukraine would be allowed to use long range missiles and shoot them into Russia. Now, this is something that has been being talked about for a while for those of you who do follow, the news and this crazy war. But that's the one thing that Putin said: don't fuck with these missiles. And now we're being threatened on a nuclear level. So I don't know what these maniacs want as far as this military industrial complex, but it looks like everyone's going to be taking advantage and doing whatever the fuck they have to do before Trump gets in. You have China that wants to take Taiwan. You have Russia. You have BRICS, the nation that formed to break the dollar. There's so many ways this all can go, and we will see. We'll see. Like I said, it ain't over for me until Trump is in office. Now, don't get me wrong. The team he's put together so far has been great. You got Robert Kennedy Jr. working on health. You got this badass doing the border. You got people that really give a fuck about America on it. And this is probably the only election that I've ever seen that I actually feel there could be some real change from. Think about it. None of these dudes need money. You have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. They're running the Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. And it's funny, I laugh because Elon Musk said about Dogecoin, it's usually the most ironic outcome that happens. And now you have the Department of Government Efficiency that Elon Musk is running. And you see the price of Dogecoin, the meme coin, is shooting up, along with Bitcoin, which is almost at 100,000 since the election. So, yeah, they're going to have a challenge now. But must said off the bat, $2 trillion he's aiming for. Just fat, cutting the fat out of each department, just cutting it out. They're also talking about term limits. That's another thing. Now, if you don't know, a lot of these politicians, they'll get lifelong jobs where, they're easily corrupted, just being in there by the lobbyists, pharmaceutical companies, and then they all end up getting jobs at that company usually. It's funny, there's a list I was seeing of just the different people that used to work for the FDA that ended up eventually getting a job at Pfizer or Moderna or, some other company that, it's obvious because of favor for a favor type of thing, but like on the inside trading and, the foreign fucking shit, it just got to a level where it was just out of control, out of control. And it needs to be cleaned up by people who don't need the money because they don't need the payoffs. And that's just that. That's all I'm going to talk about when it comes to that. But hey, listen, man, I'm praying right now that all is smoothed out with Russia and that we do not go into a third world war because that is not something anyone wants. Anyone, especially if we're talking about nuclear weapons. So, yeah, man, crazy election. I knew it was going to be crazy. I didn't know it was going to be crazy to the level. Um, Trump dodged it, but he didn't dodge. He actually got shot in his ear. There was another assassination attempt after that, Mar-a-Lago, while I was golfing. And there was another half of assassination attempt after that, where someone went in Butler with a bunch of loaded guns. And yeah, so it's been pretty crazy. And, you know, it just gets crazier and crazier every day. Cat Williams said at the beginning of the year, I remember 2024 is going to be the year where truth will get revealed. And that has been what is happening. How about Puff Daddy, y'all? How about that? Anybody see that coming? Yeah, I think a lot of y'all saw that coming. Well, I guess what he was doing was, for who knows how long, everybody knew Puff Daddy's parties, his crazy parties, all this. Um, Apparently, there was a lot more than just a party going on at those parties. Um, there was rape. There was people were getting drugged, both men and women, and cameras everywhere. And then I guess they were getting extorted. But then you have, worse than that, people involved in this that were young. Rumors of Justin Bieber being involved in this, and some videos out there that are just iffy. Let's just leave it at that. All I do know is Puff Daddy tried to get out, I think 3 times, with $51 million on house arrest, and they would not let his ass out. So it's some serious shit on those tapes. And then it's funny, right after that, you saw certain stars, not going to name any names, but just start deleting their Twitter and hiding under the shadows. So we'll see what winds up happening with that. I'm sure 50 Cent's getting a kick out of it. But it's serious, man. That shit's not funny either. That's some serious shit. Some sick ass serious shit. It's almost like the Black Epstein, you know? And who knows how far it goes. If he's the leader or if there was fucking, that was an operation as well. Because I do fully believe that Epstein was a intelligence operation. Fully believe that. And nobody can convince me otherwise. Now, Puff Daddy, that might be a whole nother thing, but they obviously knew either way. He had some people paid off, whatever it is, whatever it was, it is. And welcome to the Tragicamerica podcast, y'all. The last few seasons, we talked about different things. We would talk about weed. I would do reviews. We would talk about Publix. We would talk about politics. We would talk about, we'd have some guests on. We talk about mental health. Speaking of mental health, the suicide rates are out of control right now. People are separated. Ever since COVID, things have not gotten fully back to normal. Everything's online now. Everything's either through social media or through, text. People are working from home from their computers. People aren't really going out like that anymore. And it changed the world, not in a good way. I'll leave it at that. Now, look, it's great. We're able to see things that we've never seen before. If it wasn't for social media, we wouldn't know half the bullshit that was going on in the world. Not just social media, but I got to give my props to Elon Musk for buying X for $44 billion dollars when it was not worth anywhere near that. But it was the price of free speech. Because I do believe if a lot of stuff was not posted on X, it would not have been posted on any of the news channels. So thank you, Elon Musk, for opening up that door. And Dan, did he go through a lot of heat for that? And he's still going through a lot of heat for that. I admire these dudes, man. I admire Elon Musk. I admire Trump. I admire Jordan Peterson, Robert Kennedy Jr., all these guys that are standing up right now, risking their lives, literally, on a daily basis to change the United States. And God willing, they will be able to. It's going to cause, don't get me wrong, it's going to cause some backlash. There's going to be a lot of backlash. One being this war that seems to be on the horizon. Another being that Pennsylvania seems to be counting votes illegally after the Supreme Court said they couldn't, but yet they're still doing it. And the judge said pretty much that she doesn't care. A lot of stuff coming out. Truth coming out 2024. My main thing was freedom of speech, man. I saw what was happening in London. People getting arrested for their retweets, just the craziness that they were actually allowing out pedophiles and putting in to jail people for their posts. So we were pretty much the last one, the last country, man, that had freedom of speech, and we still are. And it got to the point where people were self-censoring. It got to the point where, shit, we were being censored online. Mark Zuckerberg admitted it, that the Biden-Harris administration was forcing him to suppress information on COVID and the Hunter Biden laptop story, and he didn't wind up endorsing anyone this election. The Washington Post didn't, and they lost a shitload of money. The LA Times didn't. And it's at the point now where I think we all need an apology. I think we deserve an apology from CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News, just for any propaganda bullshit that they made us listen to these past, 9 years now. How they would make their little clips, their little buzzwords that they would say on every channel, and it seemed to be effective for about 20 to 30% of the population, where now they hear the word Trump and automatically they think racist, or they think, Nazi. And it's just crazy because none of that was real. And they should apologize for it. And I think they're going to. I think they're going to have to. You'd be surprised just how many people are not speaking to people in their families right now. How many relationships have broke up. Politics was never like this when I was growing up. I didn't experience racism. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. My 10-year-old birthday party, I had every race there. And it wasn't until about 2013 that all of a sudden the numbers started getting ramped up in the news on the words white supremacy, racism, BLM, and all that did was start to divide again. Because, God forbid, we have the people together on one page, right? Now, that being said, I do have hope. I believe a lot of people woke up. I believe a lot of people are hip to the bullshit. And I believe if this is played right, we're going to hit. This is the second revolution right here. This is America getting America back. But it's not going to be without a fight. Not going to be without a fight. You know, it's a crazy time, man, but it's also a great time. There's a lot of opportunity. You got AI, you got, now AI could be used for both good and bad. Let me just put that right out there. Oops, see daisy. But yeah, it could be used for both good and bad. Now, what I'm trying to do is learn it for good. I have a business now, and I'm trying to use it to code with. I'm trying to use it for art. I'm trying to use it for just to be an assistant, you know? Um, and it saves time and it works. And I'm experimenting, I'm learning, but I do think with AI, we might see the first $1 billion one man company come from it. So, it is a crazy time. There's a lot of crazy shit going on, but use it to your advantage. Set up a business. If it's not that, learn AI. I've been learning the markets. I've been learning cryptocurrency. It's, the world is changing. Whether we accept that or not, the world is going to be a different place. In 5 years, I don't think anyone can give an accurate prediction on where we'll be. And that's kind of crazy because it's almost the first time it's been like that, where with AI and with the state of affairs in the world right now, in 5 years, it's hard to make a prediction on where exactly we will be. I'll tell you what, if I had kids, I'd be freaking a little bit. Speaking of kids, we are in population decline. And it's not just us, it's a lot of countries in population decline. Now, I don't know if that has to do with money. I don't know if it has to do with lack thereof. I don't know if it has to do with the shots. I don't know if it has to do with whatever. But I think the average is 1.2 children, and we're on a steady population decline. It's not just us. But what are we going to replace with? Robots? Is that it? One way or another, we're probably going to have to do some universal basic income because AI is going to eventually take a lot of jobs. Now, there's going to be that period where people are overseeing it, but it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. And I'll tell you what, all the events of this year, oh, I didn't even get to the alien part yet, but all the events of this year got me more and more feeling like, hey, we might be in a simulation. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all. I brought this up many times before, and it does not change my beliefs. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ, but things definitely seem like we're watching a movie sometimes. Speaking of that, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fought the other night, if you want to call it that. And a lot of people were pissed off because it was obviously rigged. Now, I knew that. I knew that was coming. And I don't fault either of them for that because it was a lose-lose for Jake Paul. If Jake Paul would have knocked Mike Tyson out, he would have been the most hated. And I'm not sure if Mike Tyson would have been able to knock Jake Paul out. Mike Tyson's not the same Mike Tyson. He smokes weed all day. He does his mushrooms. He's got a podcast. But when you saw him training, he was training like a beast. He was. And then in that ring, it just looked a little bit different. Now, I'm glad he got his money because for those of you that don't know, Mike Tyson was worth a few $100 million at one time. And he went bankrupt and, a lot of people stole from him, falsely accused him of some shit. He went to jail for a while and he lost everything. Over the last, 10 or so years, he built himself back up to a $10 million net worth, which, don't get me wrong, is high, but nothing compared to what he had. And shit, If I was him, I would have grabbed the money too. But people are pissed, man, you know, because not only did, it was on Netflix. So I had canceled my Netflix subscription a while ago just because it's the same shit on there all the time. And it started to get woke and all this. And this was Netflix' move to get people back. And it worked. 125 million people ended up watching this fight. The best one was the girls, by the way, the girls fighting. But their servers were not equipped for that. So it was buffering like hell. And you got all these people buying it back to a buffering screen. I actually ended up falling asleep before the Tyson fight and did not get to watch it till the next day. So I was pissed, and I am most likely going to cancel Netflix again because there ain't really nothing good on there. Besides that, what have I watched? Speaking of movies or TV or fake, but that's the thing now, man. It's people are just sick of seeing fake a show, and that goes back to the election. You know, people were sick of seeing politicians with their fake ass show and their fake ass talk and nothing getting done. And then finally, you got some crazy New Yorker businessman come in, getting hate for a whole administration, losing an election, a questionable election in 2020, and then overwhelmingly winning it in 2024. And I'll say it, I said it before and I'll say it again, until Inauguration Day, I think they got something up their sleeves. And I'm hoping that's not us going to war with fucking Russia. But there ain't nothing we could do about it either way. We could just watch it unfold and take it from there. Shit, we could pray. That's all we could do. And if you hear those sirens goes off, you put your head between your legs and you kiss your ass goodbye. Oh man. So I am smoking on some. What am I smoking on tonight? I got some train wreck. Taking a couple hits of that. I wanted to get this out. And this is obviously just me rambling on and on and on. But I did want to get this out. Episode 1. I'm going to be doing about a half hour to an hour a week. We're going to be talking about different things as they unfold. But for now, I don't think I got much else to talk about. I got a blog, y'all. It's tragicamericablog.blogspot.com. That is going to be turned into a book, the way I'm writing it. And it's basically me getting out of prison in 2019. And when I went in, there was no iPhones, there was nothing like that. When I got out, everyone had the internet in their hand, and the world was divided, with half the people for Trump, half the people hating him with a passion. I sure hope it doesn't happen like this again. There's a lot that needs to be done. And I do want this country to be thriving and not have to depend on China or India for our medications or another company for our gas or, having to look at the prices of what I'm buying in the store, making sure that I have enough money for that and bills when I'm working my ass off, like y'all are. So I pray that there's change. And I do think we got the right people for it. We got the people in there that don't need money. They don't need payoffs by lobbyists. Elon Musk doesn't, billionaire. Ramaswamy doesn't, billionaire. Trump doesn't, billionaire. And that is a good thing, believe it or not, because they are not beholden to anyone. Not beholden to the pharmaceutical companies or the banks or, the billionaires that have their own agenda. And it's not all the time in the favor of America. Actually, a lot of the times it isn't. It just became this corporate, weird feeling, woke time where our borders were getting ransacked with people. And, that's the part that a lot of people don't get, man. On average administration, you have maybe 2, 3 million come in the border. This time we had 20. And it came out that 13,000 were murderers, I think 16,000 were rapists, and I can go on and on and on. But almost every major city in the US has been torn apart. And I thank that I'm living in Florida. I used to say, man, I wish I was back in New York, but I am thankful to be living in Florida right now with the situations in these major cities. Now it could all be fixed. It can be, but it's going to be a ride. And we're going to be here to talk about it. We're going to be here to make fun of it. We're going to be here to watch it. Hopefully. But yeah, man. Once I saw that today about these long range missiles and us getting threatened with the N word, nuclear, that shit had me thinking, how far are these motherfuckers gonna go? How much pull does the military industrial complex really have over the people in power? And how far will they go to make sure that Donald Trump does not actually get in that office now? We will see what happens on Inauguration Day. And from now until then, and I will be praying. So I'll be back, y'all. I'm not going to edit this. I'm just going to put it out. I'm going to relax now, light up some train wreck, and I am going to post this podcast. Episode 1, Tragicamerica. Peace.